Hello and welcome back to the Trainers of the World Tournament Season 2. I'm your host DeltaTDS, and after a week-long break, which was definitely needed for some things behind the scenes, definitely got a lot of work done. We're here on match 56 between the Pokemon trainer Harrison and the Johto gym leader Misty. We can see that Harrison doesn't have an ace, but he says he doesn't care. And Misty's got the Togekiss as the ace. Once these trainers are ready, we're going to see who's taking game number 1. Harrison starting off with Weavile and Shiftry. Misty starting off with Starmie and Togekiss. Togekiss going Terra Steel, Starmie goes Protect. Weavile fakes out the Togekiss, flinching it. Shiftry goes for knockoff into that Starmie. Not doing anything because of that Protect. Starmie gonna Mega Evolve. Shiftry goes Terrifier. Knockoff does 92% to Starmie. Flip Turn does 94% to Weavile. Switching out to the Cloyster. Dazzling Gleam finishes off that Weavile and does 22% to Shiftry. Knockoff does 43% to Togekiss, getting rid of its heavy duty boots. Harrison is the first trainer to lose a Pokemon as he sends out the Torkoal, setting up the Sun with that Drought ability. Swapping out Togekiss for the Politoed, immediately setting up the Drizzle. Leaf Blade with the crit takes out the Cloyster. Heat Wave only doing 10% but burning the Politoed. And Starmie comes back out here. Switching out to the Feraligatr, Waterfall takes out the Shiftry. Hydro Pump does 43% to Feraligatr. And Harrison sends out the Torkoal now. Resetting up the Sun. It's currently 4v5 right now. Harrison's a little bit behind. Misty switching out the Politoed to the Gyarados, intimidating Harrison's Pokemon. Starmie goes Protect, Torkoal goes Protect. Rock Slide only hitting that Gyarados for over half of its HP. Starmie with the Thunder Wave paralyzes the Feraligatr. Waterfall does 35% to Torkoal. Rock Slide takes out both of Misty's Pokemon, leaving her with 3 Pokemon remaining. Earth Power fails, and Misty sends out the Dragonite and the Politoed, setting up the rain once again. Torkoal goes Protect. Dragonite goes Dragon Dance. Hydro Pump does 45% to Feraligatr. Rock Slide with the crit on the Politoed to a 53%. Breaks Dragonite's Multiscale. Feraligatr is paralyzed, unable to protect. Dragonite goes Roost, healing back up to full. Hydro Pump with the crit takes out the Torkoal, and it's suddenly 3v3. As Harrison sends out the Houndoom. Houndoom gonna Mega Evolve. Dragon Claw takes out the Feraligatr. Dark Pulse takes out the Politoed, making it 2v2. Both trainers down to their final Pokemon. Harrison sends out Blaziken. Misty sends out the Togekiss. Not gonna be doing too hot with that Terra Steel. Extreme Speed doing 64% to Houndoom. Dark Pulse does 41% to Togekiss. Close Combat does 21% to Dragonite. Extreme Speed takes out the Houndoom. Close Combat takes out the Togekiss. And I think it's game here with an Extreme Speed taking out the Blaziken. That's just my prediction. Yep, and Extreme Speed takes out Blaziken, and Misty takes game number 1 with 1 Pokemon remaining. We saw the Terra Steel Togekiss in the Mega Starmie from Misty. We saw the Terrifier Shiftry and the Mega Houndoom from Harrison. But we are back on the field for game number 2. We can see that Misty's kept the same team, as Harrison's got Miltank, Kecleon, Hypno, and Steelix. Once these trainers are ready, we're going to see if Misty takes game number 2, or if Harrison's going to bring this to game number 3. Starting off with the Kecleon and Steelix, Misty starts off with Politoed and Lapras. Politoed immediately setting up the rain. Harrison not even going to try to fight the rain with Sun. Steelix not liking the field right now, having barely any special defense. Steelix going Terra-Fighting, faking out the Politoed. Weather Ball doing 90% to Steelix. Body Press does 91% to Lapras, not enough to take out it. Earth Power finishes off that Steelix. Weather Ball does 78 to Kecleon. Kecleon with the Drain Punch changes to Fighting type, takes out the Lapras. Both trainers have lost their first Pokemon. Misty sends out the Starmie. Harrison sends out the Weavile. Starmie going Protect against that Fake Out. Politoed encoring the Weavile. Shadow Claw landing into that Protect. Swapping out to the Miltank, Starmie Mega Evolves, Flip Turn takes out the Kecleon, and Starmie switches to the Togekiss. Hydro Pump takes out the Miltank. It's now 3v5 as Harrison sends out the Hypno and the Weavile. Hypno not a common Pokemon in this tournament. I think this is the first time I've seen it. Faking out the Politoed doing 18%. Hypno does Ally Switch, which was useless against that Dazzling Gleam, as it brings Weavile down to 17%. Togekiss going Terra Steel, Triple Axle doing 6, 13, and 19%. Dazzling Gleam takes out the Weavile. Hydro Pump takes out the Hypno, and Harrison's left with that last Pokemon, being that Blaziken. Blaziken Mega Evolves, goes Protect, getting that speed boost, blocking the Air Slash and the Earth Power. Honestly, I don't see Blaziken making out of this. Blaziken with the Close Combat takes out the Togekiss. Earth Power takes out the Blaziken. And with 4 Pokemon remaining, Misty takes game number 2, which means she's moving on to round 3. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, take care.